So now we've reached the point of transferring our design onto the fabric and also preparing the fabric to be stretched on the hoop. So I did say at the beginning that you only need 2 tools for this, which was the needles and the scissors, because in theory you don't actually need to put a design onto the fabric. You could just sew it straight off. However, that it would be very difficult and you'd have to really understand the construction of your birds. So this transfer method does make it a little bit easier, but there's nothing to stop you from taking the fabric and putting it in the hoop and just starting stitching straight away. But I will show you the process that I use to get my designs onto the fabric so that I can stitch the construct and the look that I'm going for. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to take our fabric and we are going to prep the edges. So as I said, you can either use your masking tape to mask the edges if you don't have pinking shears. You could even, if you really wanted to, was to fold these in and either hand sew or machine sew the edges so that they didn't fray, but I'm going to use pinking shears. And the reason we're doing this is because, as you can see, these longer threads are being rejected by the fabric. So it's not like it's going to completely disintegrate on itself, but these will get caught into your design as you're sewing and they will become annoying. So we're trying to stop this from happening so that the fabric itself doesn't interfere with your design process. So if you take your pinking shears and literally just trim the edge as close as you possibly can all the way around the edge. So now you've done that, you want to make sure, I have already ironed this, you want to make sure it's completely flat and ironed and that you've got all your creases out. If your fabric has a pattern on, this is the point where you need to think about where your design is going to sit on this. So I'm actually going to create this so that this is actually the bottom of the piece and then this is going into fading out into the top. So, but you just need to think, if you've got, say, like a flower design or something and you want it on a particular part of your design, then this is where you need to think about exactly where you're laying your design. The other thing you need to bear in mind if you're laying your design is the size of how you're going to display it at the end. So if you're going to be putting it into a frame, you need to make sure that you've got enough room around the edges for the frame to fit, for it to fit into a frame. If you're going to stretch it on a hoop like we're going to do in this video, you need to make sure that the hoop there's enough left over at the hoop to actually get it into the hoop and also stretch at the back. And if you're then going to put it onto a canvas, which I have also done recently, to make sure that it will actually fit over the canvas as well. So this is a pretty important point of what you're doing in your design. You just need to make sure that you're happy with the placement, but also that you've got enough fabric around the edge to do what you want to do once you've finished your design. So I'm going to put mine in the middle. And there's also a point where you can flip up like this and just see and just try and imagine exactly where it would look like. So once you're happy with the placement, you can then use your masking tape to mask your design down onto your fabric. The joy of masking tape is it will not ruin your fabric. It won't rip it or anything, and you can also reuse it again on different designs. So once you've got that in place, so now you can flip this up, but we want to make sure that once you start using your charcoal paper or your carbon paper, you do not want to move this and you do not want to take off the masking tape until you are entirely happy that you have transferred the entire design onto your fabric. If you move this at all, even slightly, the design will then be misaligned if you then draw over it again. You can move the carbon paper as much as you like because that is not attached to this to your design. You just need to make sure that the masking tape does not come off and your design does not move from this current position when you have started. So what you want to do is, so your carbon paper, as I said, it's got a shiny side and a matte side. you want to make sure that you are shiny side down so that the carbon goes onto the fabric, and you want to line it up underneath your design like so. So you can either get your mechanical pencil or embossing tool, and then we're just going to go outline the edge very slowly, making sure we take our time. As I said, with the carbon paper, if we go outside the line, that's your new line. You have to do that line because of you can't wash it off. So just take your time on this step and just draw on the outline. And before you take it off, double check, take the masking tape off, double check that you have completed everything, transferred everything across to your fabric. So now I've finished going around the outline. We're going to lift this up. As I say, don't remove this yet. Remove your carbon paper and you can see the outline that's been created. Now, I'm not entirely happy with the shape of this foot. I've clearly missed a line underneath the foot. So now I know that that is missing. I can put my carbon paper back in place, lift this back, knowing that because I haven't moved the masking tape, this is still in the correct position, and go over this line again. Or any others that you may have missed, just to make sure that you're happy with, that you've got all the information that you need on this fabric. And once you're happy with that, only then can you take the masking tape off and your design off so that it no longer aligns with your design. And there you are, you've got your chosen design already ready to go onto your fabric.